There's definitely a stigma to living in a mobile home. I just wanted to briefly talk about that with you today. There's a lot of people I see comments where they're saying they're nice. That's not for me, and that's okay. But I've kind of grown up with that same stigma being due to the fact that my parents raised me and my siblings in a single wide mobile home. That home was everything to us. I can still remember everything about it and how much I loved it and how cozy and comfortable it was to me. And I never knew that there was a difference. Our people saw mobile home living a certain way until some of my mom's piano students would come over and say, "It's so small in here. How do y'all live in here? It's so tiny. And this is a mobile home. How come you guys don't have a big home or a bigger home?" Although I must say, my parents eventually did build a big split level home, and I continued to grow up there. But I never realized that it was such a stigma until other people brought that to my attention. But my parents were both hard workers. They did everything that they could. They tried to live in their means. And it was definitely cheaper living in a mobile home because once our house was built, everything changed. There was more bills. The bills were higher. Everything changed. But what's so funny to me is how that stigma actually started to affect me mentally. And I remember thinking at that point, I'll never want to live in a mobile home again. I just saw it the way that other people were seeing it because of the way they saw it. And it was just like peer pressure, I guess, that affected my mind. So as time went on, I built a brand new house from the ground up once I got married. And yes, I've lived in expensive condominiums. I've lived in luxury apartments. I've lived in big cities, small areas, but nothing was like Alabama. Nothing was like Alabama for me. But I remember even when I was living in Michigan, my husband at the time was saying, let's just go ahead and buy a mobile home, a manufactured home, because they're super nice and we just put one on some property. And we went to look and I was floored because they were so different from the one that I grew up in. Although the one I grew up in was extremely nice, but it was a single wide. And then seeing these newer homes, it really kind of put a different thought in my mind as to maybe I can live in a double wide again because these are so beautiful. Although we were living in a luxury condominium at the time, we just never acted on that. So fast forward, moving back here to an area where my husband's family is, and there was land. We always thought about building a home. We've thought about living in a suburban area. And to be honest, when my husband mentioned mobile home or buying one, I was totally against it. I'm like, no, I want to build a house. I want to live in a subdivision. The stigma was still there. Okay. The stigma was still there. But I have to say, when we went in and started looking again, and thinking one of these can be ours so much cheaper. And even if we decided to build another home later, that was the perfect decision for us at the time. So, as far as the stigma, I still was fighting it. I prayed about it. I looked up, did all kind of research, and how could I stay safe in storms if we had purchased a double wide. And it all just came to me. Okay. It all just came to me after prayer that it would be okay. And so once we started looking and we found one that we could afford, that I really fell in love with, and this is the one that we're living in now, I didn't care about the stigma because we were saving so much money and we already had the property. It was around family. It just fit. It was so comfortable. I didn't care about the stigma anymore. I made up my mind that this was what's best for me and at this time, and that's how I overcame that stigma. So it was at this point we decided to do a list of pros and cons, and I have made that video before of the list of pros and the list of cons in living in a mobile home, manufactured home, modular home, compared to living in a brick and mortar home. Okay, so once we did that, we were able to see on paper the benefits of making this choice of living in a mobile home. It was clear as day. It was on paper. It was clear how much we would save, how much we could benefit from this, how quickly this home could be paid off. Okay, if we wanted to add extra rooms, it would still be much cheaper than building a big home. The big home that we wanted, we could still add on and actually maneuver this home to make it look like a built home if we chose to. I've seen those. I've seen some that you would never know ever that there was a double wide under there or a single wide. Amazing. Even when you go inside, you just can't tell. The quality of these homes are amazing. They're very luxurious, very comfortable. I couldn't deny that that was going to be the best decision. So the biggest thing was deciding for myself that this is what I wanted. And nobody else could say anything about it to me to affect my decision. And as well as my husband, we made the decision together, but I'm speaking for us right now. And it's just been the best decision for us, especially I would have to say once we bought our home. I think it was 2019. We revisited the thought of getting another one, actually trading this one in and getting a larger one because we were running out of space. And you guys kind of went along that journey with me. I was touring a lot of homes, but this same exact home right now that we have is actually doubled in price today, ever since 2020 and the pandemic. So the cost of living, everything has risen. Although it's still cheaper, as long as you pick the right home, it's still cheaper to buy a double wide than to build a new built home. So I would say, as far as the stigma, for me, you have to just decide for yourself. I've seen so many people comments. I had no idea that there was such a wide variety of people who were interested in mobile homes ever since I've been making these videos. And some people are like, that's my dream. That's what I want. Or some people are like, that's what I want to do, but I'm still on the fence because I'm just not sure about a mobile home and the stigma that comes with it. Some people even say the stigma. That's why I wanted to make this video, because there's definitely a stigma. There is definitely a stigma to owning a double wide. There's no doubts about it. Even to this day, I'm proud to tell everyone I live in a double wide, and some people are cool with it, and some people are like, oh, that's what I want, that's what I need. They're beautiful, they make them look like a home. And then there's others who are like, okay. But I don't care, okay, because this is what's best for me at this moment, and I'm cool with that. I don't care about the stigma. So I'm just making this video for those of you who this situation may fit. Like I said, I've grown up in a single wide. I loved it. But once people started to talk, it changed my mind for me. But now here I am again in my older age, and I'm living in a double wide, and I love it. So it's just all about your choice, your decision, and what's best for you.